Welcome into After Carmen, the official post-game show of 11 Warriors, brought to you by the First Bank of Central Ohio, the official bank of 11 Warriors, here at Camp Randall Stadium, where Ohio State earned a 34-0 win over the Wisconsin Badgers today. Another dominant performance by the defense, earning its second shutout of the year, and a spectacular performance for Julian Sayin, who completed 36 of 42 passes for a career-high 394 yards, the most passing yards an Ohio State quarterback has had in a game since C.J. Stroud in the 2022 Rose Bowl. So a fantastic performance by Ohio State's quarterback, and one that, in my opinion, should put Julian Sayin at the forefront of the Heisman Trophy race.
Yeah, I think it's got to. The numbers that he's put up, coming into this game, if you looked at the national leaderboard for completion percentage, Julian Sayin, 78.4% at the top of that list. The gap between he and second place was the same as the gap between second and 19th place. Pretty good. The most accurate quarterback in the country by far, in another game above 80% throwing the ball today. And I think the number one thing that stood out about this particular performance from Julian to me was the ability to make plays off schedule, as Ryan Day might put it. Like the ability to escape the pocket, extend a play when there was pressure in his face. He did it multiple times, sometimes against free Wisconsin rushers. He gave a little pump fake and was able to slide out, or he just got the feet going at just the right time, climbing the pocket in the right moments, escaping the pocket in the right moments, and then delivering the ball accurately when he was on the run. You know, the ball to Carnell Tate he did that on, and what a gorgeous catch too by Carnell. But you can't say enough about this performance by Julian Sayin, or this passing game overall, which they threw the ball a lot more than they ran the ball today, the Buckeyes did.
Yeah, and certainly some things to work on in the run game for the Buckeyes. It's still not where it needs to be. You know, you think of what the second half of the season is, kind of building up to that Michigan game at the end of the regular season. Ryan Day said it himself after the game when, he was asked about what are the biggest things you need to work on during the bye week. He mentioned the run game, said he thought they left some meat on the bone there today. Mentioned special teams. They had the fake punt that they allowed Wisconsin to get on, I believe it was 4th and 19 late in the game. So I would agree. I think most Ohio State fans out there would agree. Those are two areas where Ohio State needs to be better, where if they don't get better in those areas, it could potentially cost them a game at some point. But still, today's game, certainly much more positive than negative. And like you said, Julian Sayin, Ryan Day said it himself after the game, they kind of wanted to see truly what they had in the passing game today. They definitely opened things up more for Julian Sayin than we had seen in previous games on the road. And Ohio State's quarterback continues to deliver. Of course, it helps that he has, in my opinion, the two best wide receivers in college football. And honestly, the gap between 1 and 2 is closing right now, because Carnell Tate has been phenomenal this season, and today might have been his best yet. I mean, the catch he had back there in the back of the end zone, I think was the best catch we've seen Carnell Tate make. And Carnell Tate, I mean, we could do an article on 11 Warriors right now of just the top 10 Carnell Tate catches this season. It's probably something one of us will do at some point, because week after week, the guy just keeps making highlight reel plays, and he's proving he is an elite receiver. I think he's going to be a top 15 pick in the NFL draft next spring, and just keep stacking one fantastic performance after another.
I'm not a math major, Dan, but I think it's pretty hard to try and double cover two different guys in the defensive secondary. And it just feels like the defenses all season have diverted this attention to Jeremiah Smith. Like there was a 40-yard catch that Carnell had after he'd already had his ridiculous touchdown catch, mossing two defenders at once, where Jeremiah is the first read on the play, and he's doubled. Julian looks over there's two defenders, and what do you know, right behind him, because Wisconsin decided to stick two guys, there's Carnell running wide open. It's like if you leave either of them singled up, they're going to beat you and make a spectacular play. And Jeremiah was still really good in this game. I sneakily had some really good stats of his own, but like you said, that is the two best wide receivers in college football right now. Kind of as Ryan Day did at the end of his press conference here, have to talk about the defense also. Day was very, like the last question, all the questions were about the offensive side of the ball, and after answering the last question, Ryan sits there and goes, hey, we have to talk about the defense that got a shutout today, and we've got to talk about it too, because this was another excellent performance from what is clearly the best defense in college football. Created a turnover early on a dropped pass, Sonny Styles making an opportune play there to intercept that one. set up the offense with prime field position, some of the same stuff we saw against Illinois, but consistently smothering the Wisconsin run game, there was a couple of coverage sacks in this one. The secondary is so sticky right now. It's so hard to get anything going in the passing game down the field against them that it's allowed this defensive front to have the success it's had rushing the passer. And several more sacks today. Arvell had one, Caden Curry had one. Just another game where it felt like the entire defense was firing on all cylinders and clicking to the point where I'm not sure, I have one huge standout on the defensive side, but the entire defense had a very good day today.
Yeah, a shutout was expected today, but let's be clear about why that was expected. It was expected because of how well this defense has played all season. Yeah, this Wisconsin offense is not good, but it's still hard to shut out an opponent. This defense is allowing, through 7 games, they're allowing less than 6 points per game this year. I mean, we are talking about the potential of a historically great season for this Ohio State defense, because week after week, they just show up. And I mean, you want to highlight one guy. I think a guy who deserves some love is Aaron Scott. At the end of the game, 4th and 5. Honestly, if I was Luke Fickell, I probably would have kicked the field goal there, probably try to avoid getting a second shutout, but they decide to go for it on 4th and 5, give Ohio State's defense the opportunity to secure that shutout. And Aaron Scott, he lays a big hit. I mean, that guy's a football player. He is. We haven't seen him play a lot of snaps with the first team defense at corner, but Ryan Day talked about him on special teams a couple weeks ago and how he's always the first guy down the field on kickoff coverage. You see him make a big hit like that. That's a guy that I think that there's reason to be excited about his future, and today was an opportunity to kind of see some of those guys. I think Isaiah West was certainly a guy today who showed something. We've talked a lot about Bo Jackson this year. Isaiah West ended up being the leading rusher today. He got more work than James Peoples today. I think even more than C.J. Donaldson today. And so you're starting to see Ohio State's 2 best running backs might be freshmen. I don't know if I want to quite go there yet with Isaiah West because it's the first time we really saw him play, but he showed some juice today that makes you think he could be a guy as the season progresses, could be someone to watch alongside Bo Jackson in that running back room.
We've talked about Ryan Day tells before. I think a tell with Ryan Day when he's really starting to be high on a player is when he talks about specific moments that player had in the game. And Ryan Day said specifically there were 2 runs that stood out to him from Isaiah West. There was a 7-yard run and a 14-yard run. And on both of them, they were plays where Isaiah was able to make guys miss in the backfield or maybe beyond the line of scrimmage and turn a run that into more than it was going to be as it was blocked, right? And I think that's an ability that has been missing in sections from Ohio State's running game this season. We've seen parts of it with Bo Jackson. I kind of wonder if he was banged up a little bit, coming out of, we saw him not play in the second half last week against Illinois, and he felt like he might have been a little limited today. He didn't play much in the second half of this game either. I think maybe trying to rest him up, but that opened the door for Isaiah West to kind of mix in more with Donaldson and Peoples and show some of the things he showed. One other guy I did want to mention on the defense, though, is Tywan Malone, because he has been getting better and better week after week. We talked about him after the Illinois game at that 3-tech position. Really was impressed with the stack and shed from him today in the run game. The ability to, as a defensive tackle, you learn, right, get your hands on an offensive lineman, kind of get that separation, hunt in the backfield for the ball carrier and go make a play. Did that on multiple occasions where it was just that classic drill. You're singled up against a lineman and there's a running back coming at you in the hole, and he was able to shed the block and make the tackle. Those are the kinds of plays that high-end defensive linemen make. So that 3-tech position that I think had been one of the last remaining questions after Tywan took over for Edric Houston there early in the season has really come in and is starting to be another strength for this defense. So really liked what I saw from him. Defense as a whole, Isaiah West, really everything except some of the run game issues and some stuff with the offensive line that maybe we'll talk about in the future.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot of personnel questions to go through during this bye week. I think probably the biggest one that stands out is right guard.
Yeah.
We saw Josh Padilla rotate in there a good amount at right guard today. Frankly, I think Tegra Shabola has struggled this year. I think
he had a bad day today.
I would think, from an outsider's perspective, Josh Padilla should get a chance to compete to be that starting right guard during the bye week, because I don't think what we've seen from Tegra Shabola has been good enough. And so I do think that's going to be an interesting position to monitor over the next couple of weeks. Special teams kind of remains a point of contention. What do they need to do to kind of play at a higher level, the standard that you'd expect from Ohio State in that phase of the game? So plenty for Ohio State to work on, I think, during the second bye week. But it's always good to go into a bye week undefeated. Ohio State 7-0. We are seeing it the last couple of weeks. Lots of upsets across the country. Ohio State just keeps taking care of business and proving that it is one of the best teams in college football this year. And so we will have lots more coverage on 11warriors.com throughout the bye week. For now, he's Andy Anders. I'm Dan Hope. This has been After Carmen, presented by the First Bank of Central Ohio.